Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Fantastic. You?
Oh, not too bad. TGIF.
Yeah, TGIF. TGIF.
First, thanks for being on the show on a Friday.
No problem.
Where are you located, Jeff?
In Ohio.
Oh, not far. I'm in Chicago.
Yeah, I can see the Cubs crap, so.
Yeah, I can even see that's Lake Michigan.
Yeah, wow.
From my window. So I'm sitting here and it's like beautiful out, but it's supposed to be like 93 degrees.
Wow, that's hot.
Yeah, it's very hot. So anyway, hold on one second. My fan blew over my notes.
All right.
Even with air conditioning, I need a fan. I know it's crazy.
I understand.
So anyway, Jeff, I was reading some stuff about you, and so you're the host of your own podcast. Is that what that is?
Well,
Make Every Second Count.
It's just a show. It's not really a podcast. It doesn't have all the correct things for a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a show.
Oh, nice. Well, I was reading some of the things. So tell me, let's start off with, tell me a little bit about yourself and give me a little bit of background. I've read some things, but let me hear it from you.
All right. Well, where would you like me to start? I mean, would you like me to start and build up, or?
Well, it looks like from what I've read that like at 17, were you in a car accident? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Here, I can actually show you a picture of a car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did someone T-bone you? It looks like it's
I got T-boned by a semi.
Holy crap.
Yeah. He ran a red light. Didn't realize that he was going through a red light because he never hit his brakes. He just kept going.
So that looks like it's a pretty egregious accident. So I'm assuming that you were hurt pretty bad from what I've read. So tell about that.
Yes, I had a traumatic brain injury. The top bone in my spine was broken. So that is actually considered part of the skull and not part of the spine. But so I wore a halo for 3 months with that. And then I had a broken jaw, 2 fractured ribs, a punctured lung, and a ruptured spleen. I had a tube in through my stomach to help me eat because my jaw was wired shut, and I spent 2.5 months in a coma. I had a tube in through with the side of my chest to help me reinflate my lung because it had collapsed, and I had a tube in through my neck called a tracheotomy, and that was to help me breathe and make sure that my throat didn't swell up. And I was actually on a ventilator for a few days.
Wow. That's a pretty bad accident, Jeff. So tell me what happened afterward. I was reading your story of how you came back from that, where they said that you wouldn't be able to walk, but now you're walking. And so walk me through that. So the accident happened. Tell me what you first remember after the accident.
Well, I don't remember anything from the morning of the accident through 2.5 months later. My first recollection was I was floating in a strange place with a bunch of people with white coats walking by me. It was very bright, and I had no idea what was going on. And then I glided into this room, and I was like, this is strange. And I guess I was crying and making all kinds of noise. And I guess my sister was pushing me in my wheelchair. And she actually did this all the time. She would come and take walks with me around the hospital. And I had no idea what was going on. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't stand up because I was in a wheelchair. I had a seatbelt on. And then I was all confused and I was crying and crying and crying.
Did you, Jeff, when you were first brought to the hospital, I'm assuming you were unconscious, right? Because that's a pretty tough accident. Did you have a near-death experience? Do you have any recollection of having something like that? Or was it?
I have no recollection of anything like that.
Interesting. I was just curious because, you hear so many stories about people that have had horrible accidents like that. And then they have they wake up and they say, oh, I saw a bright light or I saw this or that. And I was just curious if you saw that at all.
Nope.
So you wake up in the hospital and you find, do you have a sense of how badly you're hurt?
At first, no. But then as I was able to establish some communication, not by talking because I couldn't speak. I had a tracheotomy and I just couldn't talk because I didn't know how yet. And I did one finger for yes, two fingers for no. And I established some communication with my parents. And they told me that the doctor said that I might never walk again, that I might never talk again, that I might never get out of this bed again. And I did not want to accept that. I wanted to show them that they were wrong because nobody knows what's possible for you. Nobody knows what's possible for me. That is completely up to you or me in this case.
Well, obviously that is amazing because from what I've seen, you're not only walking, but now your next goal is to be running, right?
Yes. And I can run like 10 steps, maybe 5, I don't know. But it's extremely sketchy and I don't know if I would do it very often.
I hear, so this accident was 17 years ago?
Actually, 18 and a half years ago. It was January 7th, 2002.
So, Jeff, let's say you wake up from the hospital, you're in a wheelchair, they tell you and your parents that you're probably not going to walk again. What is going through your mind, right? So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to sort of put myself in your position and I'm trying to think, what emotions would I feel, right? So at first I might feel anger, right? Anger that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel that?
Honestly, no. I never felt anger. That I know. Even me, as perfect as I am, I have even run red lights. I didn't mean to, and I know that there's people out there that just have things going on and they accidentally do it. And if I have done it, then I don't blame anybody else for doing the same thing. He just had the unfortunate thing that I was there at the same time.
Okay, let's move on and let's talk about this. You travel the world, transforming lives so others don't they don't have to hope for a second chance to truly live the life that they have always wanted. Tell me how you're inspiring other people to live that life that they truly want.
Well, I have a movement that I have started, and I plan on getting an initiative together soon, but I haven't done that yet. And the movement is called Make Every Second Count Movement. And that is a group on Facebook that you and all your listeners can actually join. And please follow my steps. And I try to help other people learn that they can be thankful for every moment. That every moment, all right, there's 86,400 seconds in a day. And a lot of people think that, well, that's a lot of seconds. I'm not going to be able to make them all count. And see, that's where I kind of disagree. Because if you wake up every morning, which I do, and express your gratitude for being given the day and show the day that you intend to make it great, then that's something you're thankful for all day long. And once you are thankful for those things, your day will just get so much better. I have a quote that says that it's not the happy people that are grateful. It is the grateful people that are happy. Now, if you guys can comment out there or anything, put that in a comment. Put that in your newsfeed. Do something. Just tell people that it's not the happy people that are grateful. It is the grateful people that are happy.
I agree with that. I mean, I often say, whenever I find myself complaining, which I sometimes do,
But you're a Cubs fan. How can you not?
It's true. Once they won the World Series, I'm ambivalent. I'd love the Cubs when they were the lovable losers, right? But once they won the World Series, they got all Hollywood, and so now it's not as exciting. But what I was saying is sometimes I'll complain about this or I'll complain about that, and then I call it taking stock, right? So I'll take stock of my life and I'll say, I live in a beautiful apartment right on the shore of Lake Michigan. I have everything that I need. I'm healthy. I'm, happy. I have a good relationship. Everything is good. And then all of a sudden, the thing that I'm complaining about becomes trivial. And yeah. I when I'm reading your quote that it's not the happy people that are grateful, I think this is how I look at that: is when you have everything you want or need, sometimes you forget to be grateful. And so once I become grateful, all of a sudden it changes my perception, and I'm happy for what I have. Some people have more, some people have less, but I'm happy for what I have. I'm happy for the things in my life that I have: good health, a roof over my head, food in the refrigerator, the basics. And so that's kind of how I look at it. And so I agree with that. I read that you speak internationally, but specifically in Guyana. How did that opportunity come to be? How did that come to pass?
I went to Guyana with the Speaking to Nations group, and they're a bunch of awesome people. Speaking to Nations was actually founded by Ambassador Dr. Clyde Rivers and Dr. Reuben West. And Ambassador Rivers is one of my confidants, mentors that I treasure every moment with him because he's an amazing guy. And then Dr. West is definitely like the biggest mentor in my life. he's my speaking coach, and I just look up to the man. And he took myself and like 11 other speakers to Guyana, and we spoke at like 14 different schools and things in 14 days or in 4 days. And we met with the vice president of Guyana.
Nice. And what were the topics that you spoke about?
Well, we just spoke on living your best life. Like, my whole thing is make every second count. But make every second count is a part of live your best life. And in order to live your best life, I think you have to make every second count.
And how would you counsel someone who may not be making every second count? How do you counsel them to say, okay, this is how you make every second count of your life? And what would that result be if they're successful?
Well, that is funny because I actually just wrote a book, a workbook or journal that is going to be released here in like 4 to 6 weeks. And it's called Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. And in that book, it goes through things like gratitude and developing a winning attitude, developing a positive attitude, and things like that, because it is all your mindset. If your mindset is right about life, about the things in the world, then your whole world is going to change. Your whole world is going to get better. But I actually have a program called Foundational Youth, which I run here in my hometown. And in that program, where I have students 11 through 19 years of age, and we go through things like gratitude. I teach them why it is so important to see the things that they're grateful for, to see the things that they have and not the things that they want. And we also develop affirmations for them. And I teach them some breathing techniques that have helped me get over everything that I've dealt with. And it's just amazing to see the kids light up when you teach them something new or speak to them in a positive way and tell them something that they might not have heard from anyone else.
When you tell them this, do you also tell them how their lives would change by practicing this technique?
Well, I tell them that they will see life differently in doing these things. That different things, they will find different things when they look for different things. Wayne Dyer has a quote that says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's very true, because you see, he also has an exercise that he goes through about a guy that's in his house and he's flipping the keys up and down, and the boom, a loud noise, and the electric goes out, and he drops his keys. So he's fumbling around there on the floor looking for his keys, and there's no lights on, and he can't find them anywhere. So he looks outside and he sees, wow, the street lights are still on. I have an idea. I'll go outside and look for my keys. So he goes outside and looks for his keys. And his neighbor comes out and says, what are you doing, Wayne? And Wayne says, oh, I dropped my keys. So his neighbor gets down to help him find them. and they're both fumbling around looking for his keys. And his neighbor says, "So where did you actually drop your keys?" And Wayne says, "Oh, I dropped them in the house." And the neighbor looks at him like he's stupid and says, "You mean to tell me that we've been out here looking for your keys for 10 minutes and you dropped them in the house?" And Wayne's like, "Yes. You see, I didn't think I would ever find them in the house because the lights are out. I saw light out here and I decided to come out and look for them out here." And how often is it that people look for happiness outside? They don't realize that it's inside, that what they truly need lives in here.
And they're looking in the wrong place.
Yes, they look in the wrong place. And by teaching these students that they need to look for gratitude, they need to look for what they're grateful for, they need to be thankful for what they have and not always look for something more. By teaching them breathing techniques to help them live in the moment and teaching them to do affirmations saying, "I am great. I am willing to learn. I am worthy." Then if you speak to them better and they speak to themselves better, then they're going to speak to the world better and they're going to speak to themselves better.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, that's where you start. You start with yourself. If you don't like and respect yourself, and I say this often, if you don't like and respect yourself, how can you expect others to?
Yes.
So you got to speak to yourself in a positive fashion, and that'll go out into the world. Jeff, I'm assuming, I've been in a major car accident, but I never, miraculously, I wasn't injured. A drunk driver T-boned me and I got thrown through the windshield.
Wow.
And rolled over 3 times. And all I got was glass in my head and my legs and no broken bones and some minor lacerations. But an accident like yours, I'm sure required a ton of physical therapy. What was that like?
Well, I've actually been in physical therapy now for 18 and a half years. I've been in physical therapy even before I came out of the coma. They were in my room making me sit up, moving my muscles so my muscles didn't atrophy. And
Right.
atrophy is tightening up of muscles. And therapy has been hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy, but Eric Thomas has a quote says, "If it was easy, everyone would do it." And that is so true because I know that there are people that quit therapy after a short period of time and never restart it. When I was first in my wheelchair, I had people say to me that, "Wow, Jeff, you're actually out of bed. You're able to sit in a wheelchair. You should be happy by this." That people live every day in a wheelchair and they're happy. I said, and they told me that I could quit therapy. I said, "I don't think so." So when I got to walking with the walker, again, they were surprised. They couldn't believe it. They were cheering me on. But they told me that I could stop therapy. That people live every day walking with the walker and they're happy. I said, I don't think so. So I got to a cane and they were jumping up and down, so excited. And what do you know? But again, they told me that, this is probably the best you can expect. You can stop this therapy thing anytime now. And I said, I don't know. I don't think so. So I got to walking with nothing. And I honestly have trouble believing that sometimes. And again, guess what? They were like, this is great, man. Don't even try to do any more therapy, because this is definitely the best you can expect. That people live every day walking unassisted, and they're happy, or in most cases they're not happy. But you can quit this therapy thing now. And I said, no. You see, there's more that I want to accomplish. There's more out there for me, because I want to run. I told you earlier that I can run a few steps now, and that is pretty darn amazing. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop there.
Did you ever have any doubts about what you could accomplish through your physical therapy? And if you did, how did you overcome them?
You know, I probably had doubts. I'm not even saying that I always believed wholeheartedly that I was gonna get up there and walk, that I was gonna get out there and run. But you see, I wanted to prove myself right, or willing to try. And that's what a lot of people aren't trying to do. They aren't trying to prove themselves right or willing to try, because they're scared of trying. They're scared of not being right. But unless you take that chance in being right, then the failure is a privilege reserved for those who try.
Good quote. I love that. I love that idea. I love that quote. So when you were going through this, when you talk to other people that do you talk to other people that are in similar situations like yourself?
Yes, I talked to a group at the hospital that I was at, that's a court appointed group. It's
Mm-hmm.
a nationally recognized group. And I am very proud of being a part of this, because in 15 years, I have not missed one chance to speak to those students. That they are all convicted of things like speeding, wrecks, driving under the influence, even underage drinking, and things like that. And I just tell them about my experience through rehab, and my experience through these 18 and a half years since my wreck, that my life changed overnight. And if they keep going down the same path that they're on now, their life might change overnight, or their life might end overnight.
Well, what I was asking really is, have you spoken to people that are suffering the consequences that you suffered as a result of your accident? Like, do you meet with people that have been in car accidents or had catastrophic injuries, and maybe they have lost hope, or maybe they are feeling depressed? Do you talk to people, and are you able to inspire them to try harder?
Yeah, I am able to inspire them to try harder. It's always been a thing of mine. And like I said before, Dr. Ruben West is my speaking coach. And we actually work on ways to inspire people, and ways that I can speak life into people. And even people that aren't suffering from depression, I'm able to talk to them and make them see their life differently, and make them happier, And it's very important to me to help the world see that they can be happy, because I know the world is going through a crap time right now. And I don't want to see them go through that.
So you were quoting your friend Kathy, who said you can either become bitter or you can become better. And what I was asking was, if someone experiences a life-changing catastrophic injury or an accident, and they become bitter, right? How do you speak to them to try and help them navigate through coming out of that bitterness to have a better life and a better perspective?
Well, things aren't going to just happen. You have to make things happen. And without effort, nothing is going to come from it. And you have to put in the effort to get out of that bitterness. You have to put in the effort to recover from that catastrophic injury, or even to move on from that catastrophic injury. And if you just dwell in that constantly, you're going to become bitter.
Right.
So don't think about it all the time. Think about how you can get better.
I like that. I have a question that is more of a curiosity. After the accident, did the truck driver ever try to reach out to you, or did you and he or she ever connect?
No, that is a great question. And the truck driver is actually a French speaking Canadian. So,
Right.
but no, he has never tried to reach out, which I'm sure that his company and his lawyers told him not to. But he received a $40 failure to yield ticket, which he sent from Canada. So he didn't even enter the country again to pay that ticket. And they had to wait to send him that ticket because they weren't sure I was going to make it. And if I didn't, they would have had to charge him with like vehicular manslaughter.
Right. Right. Well, I was just curious because when that person hit me who was drunk, when I was sitting in the ambulance, the state trooper said to me, "Hey, the person," and it was a woman drunk driver from Idaho. She had a 1979 Cadillac sedan DeVille, so it was a tank, and I still have the hood ornament. I kept it all these years, and that was over 20 years ago. He goes, the policeman came over to me and he said, "Hey, I don't know if this matters much, but she wanted me to tell you how sorry she was." And it was hard. At first my first thought was like, fuck you. You nearly killed me. I was on my way to an event and you nearly killed me because you were drunk driving. But then after actually just listening to you, I'm thinking to myself, it would save me a lot of hard feelings for years that I had afterward if I just sort of was able to classify it as an accident. Just people make bad choices. I was more bitter the fact that she chose to drink and then drive her car.
Yeah. But it's not something I've ever done, but I know a lot of people that have done that. And they aren't trying to go out and kill anybody. They aren't trying to kill themselves. They're just trying to get home.
Yeah, and that's it. That's a good point. Jeff, you had a co-author on your book, I read, right? What was it like to write a motivational book like the one you wrote with a co-author? And were there challenges in writing your story with someone else who didn't live the same story?
Actually, it wasn't hard because my co-author, she didn't actually write much in the book. she just kind of reworked the things that I said and the things that I do every day and put them into paragraphs and into journal entries and into thought-provoking entries that will help people write and think differently about their life.
So my last question is, I read that you were really big into journaling, right?
Yeah.
So what specifically about journaling appeals to your brand of motivational thinking?
When you contemplate things, you see the things that you are thankful for. You see the things that you have, and you aren't looking for things that you don't have. And you're looking more inside yourself instead of looking at other things for your happiness, for your thankfulness, for your happiness. And it's just so important that people realize that they can writing down things is so important. One of my friends, Corey Briggs, actually says that the hand is the digital recorder for the mind.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
I love that.
I think he actually stole that quote from Dr. Reuben West, but we won't say that.
We won't say that. Jeff, your story is so inspirational. I'm inspired by the fact that you came back from the brink of death with these catastrophic injuries and limitations, and you powered through, and you didn't let other people limit what you believed your potential could be, right? That is a story that people want to hear, because regardless of whether it's a catastrophic injury or it's something else that's making you feel overwhelmed or unable to move forward, your perseverance and your commitment to reaching your goal, that's what propelled you forward. That's what kept you going. And you drew that from yourself. And I guess I want to say, ask you your final thought is, what inner strength, what inner thing about you did you rely on the most for strength to continue going, even when things were very difficult?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that, because I have had other people ask me that question. And I have done a lot of thinking to come up with that answer. And honestly, I think when I was younger, I played sports. I played basketball. I played football. I played soccer. I played baseball. I played indoor hockey. That I did all kinds of things. If it was a game, I was probably playing it. And I think my competitiveness and my willingness to always test the waters, my abilities that I knew I had, even if other people didn't see them, even if other people doubted them, that I knew I was capable of doing so much more. I believe that people in general are capable of more than they know. That there's so much that life has to offer that we are just barely scraping the surface of. And I it's just important for me to show people that if I can do it, they can do it. That it's not something out of the realm of possibilities. That impossible only means I am possible. And impossible means nothing. So remember, I am possible.
That's right. And I when I was first started to talk to you, I was curious about the semantics of everything that happened. But as we went through the conversation, I found myself really riveted to your journey. Like where did you get the strength to confront what happened to you, digest what the next steps were, and then find the strength to reach a goal that in your mind you clearly set for yourself. And then you have all of these people telling you to settle for less, and it was okay to settle for less. So you had to have that additional strength to say, yes, I could settle here, but no, I will not settle here.
Yeah, people actually will give you permission to quit all the time. They'll give you permission that you can give up on yourself because they tried it. It didn't work for them. So it's definitely not going to work for you. But the thing is, you are you. I am me. He is him. She is her. And possibilities are different for each and every person. People can give you permission to quit. Yeah, they're going to. I promise you. But you do not have to accept that permission.
I agree with that. I just posted a quote earlier today that I like. It's by Steve Maraboli, and it says, people will always have opinions about decisions because they're not courageous enough to take action on their own opinions. And it's sort of the same thing where people want to project their fear onto you, their fear of failure, their fear of even trying, let alone failure. And I always think of, I can't remember the quote, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. It says, if you don't, your fear of failure is one thing, but if you don't even try, then failure is guaranteed. Right? Yeah. If you're not even trying, you got to try. And so when you said that earlier, I really picked up on that. And so, Jeff, I just want to tell you, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I've really enjoyed learning about your ordeal and how you overcame it. You're an inspiration, and I wish you nothing but the best in your and continued success in your speaking engagements. And anything that we can do to help you, please reach out to us, and we're happy to do that.
All right. May I give a gift to the listeners?
You may.
All right. So if you guys actually go to my website, which is www.jeff, Jeff, Marconette, Marconnette, Jr, JR.com, and sign up for an account there. You can go to the Make Every Second Count blog, and you can actually download the first week in my journal, and it's not released yet. So this is a special offer that you guys can get for free just by signing up.
Absolutely. And we encourage everyone who's listening to go to Jeff's website, take advantage of what he's offering you, and learn from his experience. I'm sure as much as he inspired me today during the show, he will inspire you. And Jeff, like I said, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. And I will follow your journey going forward with earnest.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being here today. It's been an honor to share with you and your backstage people and your fans.
Thank you, Jeff. You have a wonderful day and a terrific weekend, okay?
All right, and you have to do me a favor, though.
I will.
You have to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life.
That's right, Jeff. And I will. That's a promise. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.